Welcome to Game of the Day, where I randomize a date and play a game that came out on that same day. Today we're starting with 2023 for the year and April 13th for the date. We had 76 eligible titles for today's game, but the game that made a grand entrance was Canyon Racer. Canyon Racer is a homebrew or hobbyist title for some interesting consoles such as the Game Boy and Megaduck, which is a Game Boy clone developed in Hong Kong in 1993. But the most interesting thing about this game was the usage of the parallax effect. To put things simply, while some games might have a flat background that moves at the same time and speed, when you incorporate a parallax effect, it allows for a more dynamic background by layering the background elements at different speeds to make the game feel more alive. And to take things a step further, this developer set out not only to do a parallax effect, but make it a vertical one opposed to the normal horizontal ones, which is way more difficult to incorporate for hardware technical reasons. But Canyon Racer follows a ship that flies through a canyon while attempting to avoid rocks that get in your way. You start with 10 lives and you lose one every time you crash, while also having the ability to gain one if you encounter one on your run. But the feature that makes this game unique though is the ability to exchange a life for a save state, allowing you to start your next life from where you last left off. Because such a mechanic exists though, the game counteracts it by making obstacles pretty difficult to avoid, with the only options you have being directional movement and jumping that is determined by how long you hold down the jump button. Due to the game being generated by sine waves, there are some portions that introduce some pretty sharp turns, and if you couldn't master the timing of precise jumps, you're almost forced to use a save state just to brute force past it. But the save states did come with a possibly unintended consequence, that since the game's route was fixed, if you knew where certain lives were, you could essentially save before a bunch of lives appeared and then stack them. For example, if you saved at 10 lives, grab 3 more after your save point, then immediately crash, because you only lose a single life, you would now rewind with 12 lives from your previous save point instead of 10. To test the limits of this idea though, I used the technique to reach a max of 99 lives, but was still no match for the difficulty, as I was only able to get up to a high score of 5,400. So while the game was simple objective wise, that was kind of the point, as the game was detective mode to test the limits of the Game Boy, which looking at it on native hardware, it seems to hold up pretty well. With everything taken into account though, I'd have to give this game an impressive sine rewind out of 10. Make sure to follow and leave a comment about what you think of this game, and I'll see you guys in the next one.